Being born and brought up in Bangalore, we love our Donne Biryani. But what always pricked us was, why isn't there a brand in the organized sector which has popularized this particular biryani pan-India?
So is that a brass vessel?
Yes, that's a brass vessel. Keeps the heat intact and the flavors is intact as well. So this is particularly used to prepare the biryani.
Some fennel and some jeera. Well, the spices are working their magic in the oil, and that's a very important part of a biryani coming together. You want to make sure that the oil gets all the flavors of the spices that go in. This is where it all begins. So now that lid of that patre comes out, I love the manner in which chicken masala is now bubbling away. Almost as if inviting that rice, that jeera sambar rice that comes from West Bengal to join the party. How kilo rice is it? 5 kilo. So 5 kilo meat, 5 kilo rice.
So what's unique about the jeera sambar rice is it completely takes the characteristic of the biryani masala.
Namaskara folks, this is Kripal, Amanna, gourmet on the road, and you're watching Food Lovers TV. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're staying safe and strong. Those of you who know me, you know that I love my biryani, and I'm especially fond of a Bengaluru biryani, which is the Donne Biryani. Now, a couple of years ago, when we were all stuck at home during the lockdown, I was craving for a Donne Biryani. I opened the online ordering app, and that's when I chanced upon an interesting Donne Biryani. I ordered for it, tasted it, and I must say I was pleasantly surprised by what I tasted. In fact, I even have a vlog on my tasting of the biryani on the Kripal Amanna vlogs channel. If you haven't caught it yet, I'm going to place a link in the description below. Well, that was my first tryst with the RNR Donne Biryani. So I tasted the biryani, enjoyed it, and that was that. Now, many of the businesses that emerged during that period to cater to people who were sitting at home, who were stuck at home, unfortunately, many of them didn't make it past that phase. But I was pleasantly surprised to learn that not only has RNR Donne Biryani survived that phase, but has also thrived in the last couple of years. Today, they have kitchens across the city and have also opened 2 restaurants where you can savor the Donne Biryani. So we are here at RNR Donne Biryani's most recent restaurant here in RT Nagar, where I'm hoping to not only taste the biryani but also catch the making of that biryani and what makes it special. Let's go. Namaskara. Namaskara.
Welcome to RNR.
Thank you very much. Namaskara.
Namaste.
How are you doing?
Great.
And you are Ramya Ravi.
That's right.
You're the person behind RNR Donne Biryani.
Yes, me along with my sister, both of us started this brand.
So when it comes to a Donne Biryani, I'm very partial towards Donne Biryanis, and especially in a place like Bengaluru. So typically you associate a Donne Biryani with very old eateries, places that have been around for decades. And here you're a Donne Biryani that is born only 2 years ago.
So we started during lockdown.
Yes.
But the genesis of the idea happened way long back.
Okay.
Being born and brought up in Bangalore, we love our Donne Biryani.
Okay.
This is a acquired taste, over time for us. But what always pricked us was, why isn't there a brand in the organized sector which has popularized this particular biryani pan-India? It's of course very well known in Bangalore, and there are innumerable joints who serve Donne Biryani. But the likes of a Hyderabadi, for example, as popular it is, why isn't this Donne Biryani taken outside of Karnataka? So that's one thing which always pricked us.
Okay.
And on the other side, my grandmom, who was born and brought up in Bangalore,
Okay.
her version of Donne Biryani, according to us, was the best. oldest of the memories goes back when, you know, she used to prepare and we used to relish it.
Okay.
So when these two ideas in fact joined hands, we were sure that we wanted to start a brand with her recipe that takes pride in representing the best version of Donne Biryani we could offer, of course using the most authentic ingredients. But by the time we were sure, it was lockdown. It was definitely a tough time. But one fine day during lockdown, when we were just scrolling through, you know, when we wanted to order something, we couldn't even find one place, one location which served Donne Biryani where we could be rest assured that okay, it's prepared in the most safe and in the most hygiene environment. Because you know, that time we were so concerned, all the more than any of the times. So that's when we decided maybe this is the right time to start. Let's start off as a delivery brand. So November 2020 is when we started. By the end of December, we clocked close to 10k orders.
10,000.
Yes, yes. And I think that gave us a huge boost of motivation in terms of the response we got. And there was no stopping us since then. A year since then, we've scaled it to 16 kitchens. We have a dine-in outlet located in Jayanagar. Now this is our second outlet.
So you have 16 kitchens
16
that serve
across the length and breadth of Bangalore.
When you talk about Donne Biryani, sumar iconic brands are there.
Bangalore itself is such a huge market. Everyone has their place. And we wanted to take this Donne Biryani a notch higher and position it in a much more, you know, a fine dine format.
Today you have 16 kitchens.
Yes.
16 kitchens and 2 restaurants.
Yes.
So the dream is to take Donne Biryani outside.
That's our motive ultimately.
So not just in Bengaluru, not just in Karnataka, but outside the borders of Karnataka.
Of course,
Fantastic. And why not? Well, everybody talks about a Hyderabadi biryani, a Lucknowi biryani, the Kolkata biryani across the country. But when you tell somebody outside about a Donne Biryani, they don't know what it's about.
Exactly.
So that's what you're hoping to...
That's what we aim to achieve.
So you're talking about your grandma's recipe.
Yes.
But how do you translate that to the biryani out here? And especially when you're doing multiple kitchens, multiple restaurants.
So that's the recipe we've carried forward. And in fact, here we have a decentralized approach. Every location we prepare the biryani at the outlet itself. Every half an hour, in fact, we prepare fresh biryani in each location.
And there's nothing like a busy biryani, a biryani that comes straight from the kitchen to your table, still steaming away. But like they say, the proof of the pudding or the biryani in this case is in the eating. But before we do the eating, can we watch the making?
Absolutely.
Fantastic. So let's go into the kitchens here at RNR RT Nagar and watch how that Donne Biryani comes together. Let's go. Something very familiar here, which is the packaging. This was my first tryst with the RNR biryani. We were all at home, stuck at home during the lockdown. And like you mentioned, even I was looking for a Donne Biryani, and that's when I saw this come up on one of the delivery apps. The first thing that caught my attention was this dabba. And I think that's what did it for a lot of people. You had the biryani, you had the sherwa in one, you had the mosuru bhaji, the salad, and then there was a sweet surprise.
Yes.
In that double ka meetha.
Double ka meetha. The approach was when they receive a Donne Biryani, you know, to associate that they're receiving something, you know, something different, and to associate pride with it. So you know, we wanted to present the biryani in a royal manner.
So the veg biryani is made only in this patre?
Yes, absolutely.
The mutton only in that?
Yeah.
So that is the biryani rice. So that's how you make sure that there is no cross.
Absolutely, yeah.
This is where all the magic happens. This is where the biryani comes together. I can see some charcoal already lit there. Dum hi gaya. Are you the biryani master? What's your name? Venkatesh. So ಎಷ್ಟು ವರ್ಷದಿಂದ ಬಿರಿಯಾನಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ? 15 ವರ್ಷದಿಂದ ಬಿರಿಯಾನಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ. Donne Biryani. So is that a brass vessel?
Yes, that's a brass vessel. Keeps the heat intact and the flavors is intact as well. So this is particularly used to prepare the biryani.
So ಏನೇನು ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ ಬಿರಿಯಾನಿಯಲ್ಲಿ? Cinnamon, cloves, cardamom,
chapatri,
marat mogu, kapok bud,
bay leaf,
stone flower, fennel seeds, and then of course the coriander. Rice, your rice? Jeera sambar.
So our jeera sambar rice comes from Silberry, which is located in West Bengal.
Okay.
So that's where we source it from. Apart from the jeera sambar rice, the chili, which is of course the major component, it's a nati chili we use, and that's from Chikbalapur. The chicken is from a very popular vendor called Suguna.
Okay, Suguna.
Suguna chicken, and our mutton is in fact Bangalore mutton.
Oh, Bangalore mutton.
Yes, and our vegetables we get it from Namdaris. So these are some of the major components and prominent vendors.
Lemon juice. There's some kasuri methi as well, and idu coriander, mint, palak use ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ biryani ಅಲ್ಲಿ. Ginger garlic. That's a green paste which is of the palak, the spinach, the mint and the coriander and green chilies. And this I think must be that.
This is the biryani masala.
So this is at the heart of the biryani.
Of course, yeah. So we have around 18 ingredients that go into it.
I can definitely smell some of the star anise in it. I can smell a bit of the fennel that goes into it. Coriander is there, sumaru. And the other 15 ingredients. This is a secret mix.
Absolutely. So this is
who makes this?
So we have a chefs make it.
Okay.
So this is standardized across all the locations.
So this is made in one kitchen
in one kitchen, absolutely.
So this, my friends, is the heart of that Donne Biryani.
Yes.
You know, when you go to analyze it, you can actually smell the distinctly different aromas of the various spices that go into it. There's also a certain distinct sweetness that comes to it from the nutmeg, from the mace, which is very different from the sweet aromas that you'll smell, let's say, of the fennel seeds or of the star anise. This biryani spice mix has 18 ingredients that have gone into it. What biryani cook ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ ಈಗ?
Donne chicken biryani.
Donne chicken biryani.
So we make in batches of 5 kilos. So we make it in smaller batches in faster rotation. So every 30 minutes we have one batch coming out. So that's how we do it.
And some tuppa. Some tuppa going into. I love the sound that the oil and the tuppa is making in that brass vessel, waiting for the spices to join the party. Some cinnamon that's gone in, some cloves that are going in, and some green cardamom too. The mace, and then the kapok buds. And this is basically kalpasi, which is also called the kalua, the kaluhu, or the stone flower. This is basically a lichen which grows wild. And some star anise too. Some fennel and some jeera. Well, the spices are working their magic in the oil, and that's a very important part of a biryani coming together. You want to make sure that the oil gets all the flavors of the spices that go in. The akkha spices. I'm sure many of the spices also find their way into that secret spice mix, but this is where it all begins. And then the onions. So when your granny was making the biryani, how many years ago?
When I was probably 6 or 7 years old is when the memory starts off from. So obviously it was in much smaller batches, it was in the kitchen, and it was a different setup altogether. But again, there's the beauty of home style preparation.
Home style preparation. So there's some dried fenugreek that's going in. I can smell the aroma of the fenugreek. You know, this is the first time that I'm actually visiting one of the RNR restaurants. I've only tasted the biryanis twice, and that too I've ordered it one of the delivery apps. But both times I remember the rice being extremely flavorful. And when I look at this biryani pot here with the oil, with the tuppa and all the ingredients that have gone into it already, I'm now beginning to join the dots, because ultimately it's this oil that flavors every grain of that jeera sambar rice. Ginger garlic paste. Always a happy space to be in when a biryani is getting cooked. First I could smell all the hard spices, then the kasuri methi, and now you can definitely smell that gama gama parimala of the ginger and the garlic. ಸೊ ಎಷ್ಟು ಟೈಮ್ ಇದು ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ ಇದು?
5 minutes.
5 minutes. ಸೊ ಹೇಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗುತ್ತೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಇದು ರೆಡಿ ಆಗಿದೆ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಸ್ಟೇಜಿಗೆ?
Brown color.
Also, that's the other thing that I noticed in your Donne Biryani. I think every Donne Biryani has its own color. There's some Donne Biryanis which are very light green, some which are greenish yellow. Your Donne Biryani is a combination of a greenish, yellowish, brownish. It's a deeper color.
It's a deeper color, that's
Right?
right, yeah. In our Donne Biryani, the greens are of a slightly higher portion. We also use palak, so which again adds a stronger green color to it.
Stronger green color to it. And of course, speaking of color, some of the color also comes from the turmeric, the arshine. Of course, turmeric besides the color is also beneficial, and I'm sure your grandma would have prized that as an ingredient in the biryani.
Of course.
The arshine. You know, when you look back at many of these traditional recipes, there's always, it's not just about flavor, but it's also about wellness, and everything has a complementing role to play.
Absolutely.
And now that green paste.
Green paste.
So idರಲ್ಲಿ chili ಇದೆ,
Chili ಇದೆ, ಧನಿಯಾ
coriander ಇದೆ, mint ಇದೆ, and palak. So what is the ratio ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ?
ಕೊತ್ತಂಬರಿ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ,
ಕೊತ್ತಂಬರಿ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ,
ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಪಾಲಕ್ ಸೇಮ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ.
ಪಾಲಕ್ ಸೇಮ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಮತ್ತೆ ಗ್ರೀನ್ ಚಿಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಪೈಸಿಗೆ ಫ್ಯಾಂಟಾಸ್ಟಿಕ್. I love how all the spices and the onions have given themselves to the embrace of that green masala. All that you can now see is that green masala and specks of the spices here and there. And of course, the pepper goes into your spice mix.
Yes, it goes into the spice mix.
So when you had to, let's say, adapt that recipe, your grandma's recipe, from doing, let's say, a biryani, small biryani pot at patre at home to a kitchen. So were there many trials? Did you have to?
Most definitely. So if it's smaller, it's obviously it's much more easier. But when it comes into batches, to replicate the same taste, it becomes a challenge. But then yes, we were able to do it.
Yeah. So there were many days of just eating biryani.
And it continues to.
Yeah.
So it's just not the past; it's also the present, and it just continues to.
So do you eat a Donne Biryani every day? Do you taste it at least?
Realistically, taste yes. So I can't obviously not eating a full size portion, but definitely, most definitely.
Yeah.
tasting a Donne biryani.
But tell me one thing. Now you have 18 kitchens. Now you have 2 restaurants. Between you and your sister, how do you make sure that standards are what they should be?
So we monitor the portion sizes.
Okay.
So because we follow a decentralized approach, so
Okay.
portion sizes, monitoring is the key factor for us. So across locations, we also have people, particularly visiting branches to monitor if the portion sizes are being followed.
So when you say portion
So,
sizes, it's the
Like in one 5 kg patra, what goes into it. So that's what we monitor.
okay. Okay. Now the chicken is ready to go in. This is a broiler chicken. Is it kilo?
5 kg.
5 kilo. Okay.
So in a 5 kg patra, we have 5 kgs of
5 kilo of chicken.
which go into it.
Some salt that's going into the patre now. That Donne Biryani patre. So after the salt, some yogurt. Well, that yogurt will also, I think, help to make mellow some of the flavors of the spices and of that green masala that's gone in. Hot water. So basically when they add water to the biryani, to that chicken masala as it's being cooked, it's always hot water, because if you add cold water, it will shock the chicken. Chicken is tough agate. So therefore it's always hot water. They want to add the water at the same temperature that masala with the chicken is cooking in. ಇದು ನಿಮ್ಮದು ಬಿರಿಯಾನಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಟೊಮೆಟೊ ಇಲ್ಲ,
ಇಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ಲೆಮನ್ ವಾಟರ್.
lemon water ಹಾಕ್ತೀರಾ? So again, I think when it comes to Donne Biryani, everyone has their own recipe. So out here the acidity comes more from the lemon. And I guess that's what makes it interesting. You basically want to taste a Donne Biryani which is different from, let's say, something else, right? Well, Venkatesh has closed the biryani patre, now he'll cook for a while. ಎಷ್ಟು ಟೈಮ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಈಗ?
5 minutes.
5 minutes ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬಾಯ್ಲ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Wonderful. So now that lid of that patre comes out and the rice is out there, ready, waiting. I love the manner in which chicken masala is now bubbling away. Huh? almost as if inviting that rice, that jeera sambar rice that comes from West Bengal to join the party. Ideshtu kilo rice ido?
5 kg.
5 kilo. So 5 kilo meat, 5 kilo rice.
So what's unique about the jeera sambar rice is it completely takes the characteristic of the biryani masala. So when you see the final end product, so every grain of rice will be green in color because it completely absorbs the biryani masala, and that's super unique about this rice. And hence a mouthful of Donne Biryani is like a blast of flavor.
And when you say that, I can relate to that because for me, I am looking for flavor in the rice. The first thing that when somebody gives me a biryani, I want to taste the rice by itself. If the rice, while tasting the rice, you feel like you've tasted that biryani, then that biryani has done its job. And I think the Siraga sambar rice or the Jeera sambar rice, as we call it here in Karnataka, has that ability.
Absolutely.
It has the ability to assimilate flavors. And what's going in next? Oh, lemon water. Some of the spices, having impregnated the oil with their essential oils, are now floating to the top. I can spot some of the star anise there, some kalua there. Ah, and this is that pot of gold, or is that katori of gold?
Yeah.
Huh? Ivarege, I was tasting more the flavor of the garlic or some of that kasuri methi, etc. But once that biryani masala has gone in, that's taken over the atmosphere completely. You guys time agat
2 minutes, sir.
2 minutes. I can also see the rice swell as it's greedily drinking up all the juices, all the rasa of that biryani masala. Well, I couldn't resist wanting to taste that green masala. It's a green, slightly darkish, but highlighted by bright yellow edges. I can definitely taste a bit of the tartness, a little bit of the acidity that comes from the lime. You know what's interesting here is I'm not tasting individual flavor notes. I'm not tasting individually, let's say the star anise that I could smell so much in that biryani masala or that fennel. What I'm tasting really is a slightly complex sort of flavor note in which all the ingredients have come together, and now it's a little difficult to actually decipher one spice from the other. Of course, the beginning and the end of a Donne Biryani is a tuppa. And now he's gently caressing the rice in that biryani pot. When the rice went in, well, he was mixing it rather vigorously, but now he's a little careful. He wants to ensure that the rice grains don't break too much. And now a plantain leaf cover on that biryani as it gets ready to rest on dum. The biryani has now found its way to the charcoal stove where it's going to rest with that lid, which also has some lit embers of charcoal atop it. Now that biryani will rest for 20 minutes on dum. And that is the coming together of that RNR Donne Biryani from start to finish. Let's go to the restaurant and get ready to savor that chicken Donne Biryani. Mutton kuda ide alla?
ಇದೆ ಸರ್ ಮಟನ್
Ready there?
ರೆಡಿ ಇದೆ.
Fantastic. That chicken and the mutton Donne Biryani. In addition to the biryani, these are also some of the other dishes.
Yeah. This is the nati style chili chicken.
Okay.
This is the mutton chops.
Okay.
And this is the nati koli roast.
Chicken biryani.
ಮಟನ್ ಬಿರಿಯಾನಿ.
The mutton biryani. So this is certainly a biryani whose flavors will remind you more of the aromatic spices. If you'd like to support the work that we do at Food Lovers TV, do consider joining our membership community on YouTube by hitting the join button below or on the home page. You could pledge a nominal sum and receive special privileges like behind the scenes footage, shoot updates, access to live Q&As and a lot more. You could support us on a Patreon page as well For more info, check out the links in the description below. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe, like, share and leave a comment below. Happy eating!